Welcome everybody to episode 5 of NXTV. I'm your host and NXT superfan Jeff James. This episode is going to be a little bit longer than they have been in the past, mainly because we have the reboot of NXT UK this upcoming week. So I'm going to cover a little bit about what that's going to entail. Also, they've advertised a lot for this upcoming episode of NXT, and there's just a lot going on. So let's just jump right into it. We're going to start with last week's episode and how amazing it was that they started that show with the the NXT title match. And having Adam Cole and Finn Balor just go to war to open the show was a real shock, and it was a treasure. I mean, to have them come out and let's just get it right out of the way. Let's get our new champion that we should have had last week, and let's go. And they end on that feel-good moment of Finn Balor coming out with the victory. They go backstage. Adam Cole comes back and actually congratulates him, shakes his hand, and says, "Man, you were the better man tonight." Is that maybe an implication of a Cole face turn, or is it just Cole being genuine because of the relationship that him and Balor have? You know, both being former Bullet Club members, both coming into NXT late in their careers, both of them being former NXT champions, and both of them going to war last week. The week before last in that Iron Man match, and then going to war again last week. I feel like it's just respect. I don't see the Undisputed Era making a face turn. If it's Cole making the face turn, is he going to separate from the Undisputed Era? I don't think we will still have an Undisputed Era if Cole wasn't there. So I don't think it's going to be a face turn, mainly because I don't see him leaving the Undisputed Era, and we already know what Undisputed Era is doing with the Killian Dane and Drake Maverick thing. They're being just Class A heels. So, let's just leave it at that Cole understands that Balor was the better man that night and just is showing the respect. Again, let's go ahead and go into the Undisputed Era thing. Let's go into Killian Dane versus Roddy Strong last week. That was a match that I thought was better than I anticipated it being. Of course, we end with the Undisputed Era, not being happy, jumping in on Killian, and then having Drake Maverick come out and run him off like Killian Dane did, the week before. But Killian not really appreciating what Drake did, and then just punching him in the mouth. Again, that seems to be a thing here. Killian not really appreciating that Drake is trying to help and getting punched in the mouth. So we find out later on, in the night, actually, after the show was over, there was a WWE.com video where Drake Maverick decides that he's going to ask William Regal for a tag match with Killian Dane against the Undisputed Era. Then he tells Killian about it. Killian gets upset again, and what does he do? Punches him in the mouth. Again. Wow. And then, we're filming this on Saturday, and I was literally just researching what we were going to talk about on this show, and I see that Drake Maverick tweets out, "Killian, just a reminder, we're teaming this week, and I still haven't heard from you. Can you give me a reply?" They are selling this like crazy. Killian Dane does not want to be partners with Drake Maverick. Are we going to see kind of a Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax thing here where they don't really like each other, but they know that they're working together? Or can we go back even further and call this a Team Hell No 2.0? Kane and Daniel Bryan didn't start off friends either, but they found out they worked better together. Are we going to see a Killian Dane, Drake Maverick tag team for the foreseeable future? I hope so. I really do. Both of them are incredible talents, and they're both haven't really been featured on TV, in the recent months. So to see them come together like this, I really hope that we see more of it, because, it's comedy gold. Seeing Drake Maverick get punched in the face again and just being like, it's okay, we can still work together. It's great. I hope we see more of it. We go on to Velveteen Dream just having a squash match with, the Adonis, and Dream celebrating, and then all of a sudden Kushida comes out, and we're reminded that Kushida was he was laid out after his match to qualify for that ladder match, and haven't seen him in weeks. And Kushida did not forget what Velveteen Dream did to him after he came back. So Kushida comes back and he gets his vengeance, and Dream gets his comeuppance. And that's obviously going to be a feud for the foreseeable weeks. And I, for one, am here for it. We know how talented Velveteen Dream is. We know how talented Kushida is. But there was literally nothing for either one of these guys, because Velveteen Dream didn't win that title. And I don't see him having a legitimate claim to a title match. So we needed something for these guys to do. So to see Kushida come back and really just put the hurting on Dream. He's not going to let that stand. So we'll be seeing more of that, I'm assuming. We also find out that Breezango is going to be defending their titles next week against Imperium. And I didn't see this coming. And to be fair, I didn't see it coming because we know that NXT UK is coming back this Thursday. So I really thought that Imperium was going to be done in heading back to the UK to join, Wolf and Walter. So I don't see them winning this. I see this as more of a send-off for Imperium. Thank you for being here, while you were not working in the UK. And let's send them off with, okay, this is a legit loss. You don't have a claim to the tag titles here. It's time to go back to the UK and get the gold there. It's going to be a good match. We know it's going to be, because all four of these guys are just incredible in the ring. And this will be more of a feel-good moment for Breezango to successfully defend the titles, and realize that this gold isn't going anywhere anytime soon. We also have kind of a moment between Io Shirai and Shotzi Blackheart. That was, it was funny, to see, Stone get it again. And to see Io and Shotzi in the ring, and Shotzi has the championship and doesn't want to give it back to Io. Just kind of look, I respect you, I like you, but it's time for some gold to go with all this green. So I hope that the match that we have coming up next week is going to be as good as we know it can be. To maybe lead on to a future title shot for Shotzi Blackheart. Then we end the match with a match that I thought was probably going to start the show, with the cage match between Rhea Ripley and Mercedes Martinez. And holy crap, what an amazing cage match that was. We knew that it was going to be violent. It can't not be violent when you have somebody like Mercedes Martinez and Rhea Ripley in the match together. And knowing that it's in a cage, knowing that there's no DQ because it's in a cage, the weapons made sense. It really did. And to see the match be as good as it was, be as violent as it was, and to end the way it did with that incredible move through the table, you knew she wasn't getting up for that. We also saw Robert Stone do what Robert Stone does, and that's just entertain us every week by getting himself hurt. He was on top of that cage, hung over it longer than Johnny Gargano was hung over the rope in the four-way. And it was still just as entertaining. We went off the air, and Stone is still up there. We had no idea if Stone is still going to be up there next week, If it wasn't for what happened after the match, again on the WWE.com. Guys, if y'all don't follow WWE on Twitter, you're missing out on some of the stuff that is going to be, it continues the stories. We saw on WWE.com, or the Twitter, giving us the video that Robert Stone has dropped Mercedes Martinez from the Robert Stone brand. And then he goes and he files a restraining order against Mercedes. Why? Number one. And number two, you really think a restraining order is going to stop Mercedes if she wants to get at anybody? It's not. So Mercedes gets the restraining order and rips it up right there. It's not over. It's not over. So I'm looking forward to seeing where that's going to go Is Mercedes going to be the new Shotzi Blackheart? Is she going to be the new thorn in the side for Robert Stone and just hurt him every week in different, in unique ways? I hope so. Okay, so we're going to go on to what is being advertised for this upcoming week. We're finding out that we're back on Wednesdays now. So on Wednesday night we'll be having NXT. And again, we have the Dane Maverick and Undisputed Era match. I'm going to assume it's going to be Fish and O'Reilly, but it may be Fish and Stone. We don't know why O'Reilly wasn't on the Fish and Strong. I apologize. I've been talking about Robert Stone. But we don't know who's going to be. We don't know why Kyle O'Reilly wasn't on the TV last week, but he wasn't. So if he's not going to be there again this week, then it'll probably be Strong and Fish. But I'm looking forward to seeing where they're going to take that, if Dane and Maverick can work together, and if they're going to be the dysfunctional team that we know that it works. We're going to have the Breezango and Imperium match. I already talked about that a little bit. I fully believe Breezango is going to come out with this win again and send Imperium back to the UK. We have Io versus Shotzi. Implications it being that if Shotzi wins, having a pinfall victory over the champion usually gets you a title shot. I'm hoping that's what we see coming up. I'm hoping that Shotzi at least gets a chance to be in the title picture and show us that she can hang. That's all that's advertised for this week on NXT, but we have NXT UK coming back this week on Thursday at 3 o'clock Eastern, I believe. We'll have NXT UK for this week. The big thing that they're advertising is that there's going to be a Heritage Cup tournament. Heritage Cup tournament means basically we're going to have 8 people go at it tournament style, but British tournament style. I'm not exactly 100% clear on the rules there. I know they've done this before in the UK, but the rules are all on WWE.com if you want to find out exactly what those are. But we do know the members of the tournament are Dave Mastiff. Big guy. If you're not familiar with the NXT UK, just know that Dave Mastiff is already a heavy favorite going into this because of his size, his power, and his speed. He reminds me a lot of Bronson Reed in the NXT America. Flash Morgan Webster, dude's goofy, but he's really, really good. Former NXT UK Tag Champion with Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews isn't in this tournament, so this may be a chance for Flash Morgan Webster to kind of show what he can do singles style. Noam Dar, you should already be familiar with him. He started off in the Cruiserweight Classic here in America, and then he was on 205 Live and NXT here. He's great. The Supernova, Scottish Supernova is what he calls himself. So I expect him to put on a good showing. We have A-Kid. He's relatively new. Before the NXT took their hiatus because of COVID, A-Kid was on a huge roll. So it's good to see that they haven't forgotten about him, and they're not going to let us forget about him. Alexander Wolf, member of Imperium. Great talent. Was a member of Sanity down back here. He's kind of the enforcer of Imperium. Like, they really need an enforcer. They don't. They're already a force to be reckoned with. But Alexander Wolf is kind of a wild card there. Trent Seven, he's an older talent. He used to be he still technically is a tag team with Tyler Bate, but Tyler Bate was injured before COVID started and they went on break. Is Tyler Bate ready to come back? We don't know. We haven't been given an update on his status. But Trent Seven being in this alone, one half of Mustache Mountain. Again, a chance for a tag team talent to really show what they can do in singles competition. Then we have Joseph Connors. Joseph Connors is a great, great talent. He's kind of unpredictable with his style. So he could I could see him going against anybody in this and really being a surprising upset victory with him. And then we have a mystery opponent. They said it's going to be a wild card opponent. I'm feeling like the reason they don't want to tell you who this is because it's going to be somebody that we weren't expecting. I feel like it could be Tyler Bate, coming back from injury. It could be Pete Dunne. We haven't seen him on TV in months since he had to leave, the Matt Riddle alone, with the Broserweights. So this may be a way for us to tune in and just be surprised with a Pete Dunne on our TV again. I mean, it's been too long. I've been going through withdrawals with Pete Dunne. So I'm thinking Pete Dunne or Tyler Bate, or it could be some American making their debut in the NXT UK to help relaunch the show. So I'm excited for NXT UK to come back. I hope you are too. We'll continue to cover NXT UK and NXTV episodes from the future. So let's go ahead and wrap this episode up. I know it was a little bit longer than normal, but I had to talk about NXT UK. I can't say enough. If you haven't been watching, this is the time to get into it, because they're relaunching it, so it's something that you can pick up and really start to learn who these people are, and you're missing some incredible talent. I also know that they're going to do Piper Niven versus Kaylee Ray for the NXT UK Women's title, so let's tune in for that too. So that's going to be it for us, and we'll be here next week. Make sure you like and subscribe, and comment, and get this out and share it all over social media. And remember, we are NXT.